Right guys, so in today's video I am setting up Minnie's natural tank, and the first thing we will do is move her out into a temporary tank. This is because the actual build will probably take the entire week, so we need somewhere nice and secure for her to stay. So this is quite a basic setup. I put in old Eco Earth, so even though it's sort of new to her, the smell should at least make her feel a bit more comfortable. I'm going to put in her calcium dish in a minute, but she's got her 2 hides, she's got a heat mat, a water dish. Hopefully she shouldn't have to be in here too long. Next thing to do is completely empty this out. This is all empty. I'm probably going to rip down the background because I don't really like it. But let's go and see the new background. This is a background I got made by Rockways. I'll leave their link below. I always like to make my own sort of stuff when it comes to reptiles. Like if you see my crested gecko build or the build I've done for the Chihuahua, you'll know that I'll do it all with expanding foam. But when it came to leopard geckos, that background just wouldn't work. I wanted something kind of rocky. I think this looks pretty cool. I've had one in Ziggy's tank for a while and it's doing well. So this is how it looks whilst it's in. It's pretty cool. I haven't actually secured it down. What I'm going to do to stick it down is use silicone sealant, and I always use the exact same one. So if you go back in my equipment haul and all of those sorts of things for building these tanks, you'll know it's like the aquarium safe one. You can get it on Amazon for like £3. It's really cheap. One problem I have just noticed though, when I was trying to put this side over here, is right here is where this light connects to Ziggy's light next door, and there's literally no room. So I think I'm gonna have to unscrew all of this fitting and move it along a bit. Right, so that is now all done. As you can see, there's a much bigger gap there. So I've pulled some of the sides off, but the tape I use is proper strong, so it doesn't really matter, this is going to get covered. But one thing I've done is usually I'll drill a hole in the back so I can put the thermostat through, but I've managed to make a hole in the vent, and this should come just underneath the background, and obviously I can take a little chunk out if I need to. And for the first time I'm actually putting a heat mat on the left side. You may notice all my setups are heat mats on the right, and it's just because when I put the background in there'll be a rock here, and I don't want it, you know, heating over the heat mat. I'm sure it's fine, but I'm just going to put it this side, so a bit of a change for Minnie. But now let's put in the background. Now, even though this was all, like, all the measurements were taken and this is made to fit, I always find it's sometimes just a little bit too big. So when I'm sticking down one side, this is all flat, but this side's up. And it's really annoying. With the background, I had to tip this on its back and put rocks down to keep it stuck. And I have a feeling I'm going to have to do this to this side as well, because like, this is not sticking. I think the sealant's dried now. Yeah, and it's just going to come away, so I'm going to have to just do this again, tip this over, put rocks on it, and hopefully it sticks. So we drilled these 2 holes in the roof. It's probably the only bit I actually haven't done, but I got some help with that. So now I can put in these vents. These are 6 centimetre in diameter vents. Usually these will go in the back, but I didn't want to mess up the background, so like Ziggy's tank, I've done them on top. The only thing is, this still isn't sticking down right. It's doing my head in. I still need to stick down this side, that hasn't gone in. This isn't necessarily the easiest thing to stick down. You will not believe what's just happened. So the other day when I started this, I thought I heard something go down the back of my bookshelf. And yesterday I was looking for this other side and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I realised I think that's what went down my bookshelf. I've had to empty my very dusty bookcase, and so I could actually move it to get that out. For someone who doesn't really read that much, I have a lot of books, some of the classics. I've also got Book of Animal Ignorance and a really old book I should probably throw out. One thing I have decided on doing is taking out the big heat mat. Last night I was thinking about it and I thought, well, if something went wrong with the heat mat and it's a big one and it would have rocks on it, it's just going to be a pain to change, especially in like a natural tank. So I'm going to replace it with a standard one I use with all of my Leopard Geckos, which is a 6x11 inch 7-watt Haberstadt heat mat. And these usually you can just unscrew and then thread them through the back of your vivarium. I've actually done a video on how to do that if you're interested, so I'll leave a link so you can check that out. So finally, the background part is done. Now, could this have been done better by me? Yes. There are certain aspects that are very annoying, but what I'm going to do in the case of this part, I'm going to probably put a rock up against it. You know, this isn't perfect, but it will do. I've put in the heat mat, I've taped it all down, I've taped the thermostat probe on it. What I will do is turn on the heat mat and the thermostat, get a thermometer and check it all works before I put any dirt and stuff in. And also we need to leave this a few days anyway, because you need to leave the sealant for a bit because it really smells. So I plugged in the heat mat into the thermostat, set it at 32, and as you can see it has reached it already, so that's good. I'm going to tape down the thermometer probe. This is a thermostat probe, and I'm going to put in a thin layer of earth mix arid and then start just messing with rock formations and figure out what I want to do. Okay, so this is what I set up. Obviously when I was starting out and you saw that time lapse, I'm just messing with things, figuring out what would work, what would balance. So here is a hot hide, here is a cold hide. Between each rock I have put a bit of sealant, and that's more just so there's a little bit of safety there. Obviously we don't want anything toppling, so if it does seem like there's a risk of it falling, you don't want to use that. But like these are pretty well, they were, now I've got sealant on my hand. They're pretty sturdy, but I'd just like to put a bit of sealant in between them for extra safety. I bought this bit of, is it vine? There was something ages ago and I've been meaning to use it, so I'm putting it there. Also, this is kind of like a staircase up here, and if you know Minnie, she's a little bit clumsy, so I didn't want there to just be a really high point that she could get to and then drop off. So at least this is gradual. I'm going to fill that up with dirt, put some more dirt in here, but so far it's all coming together. So this is how it looks. There was actually a few days between adding in the plants, because originally I only had this one succulent, so I went out and got a few more, and so I've added those in. Succulents tend to do well for like arid tanks, although I'm not the best at keeping succulents alive. I must admit, I'm working on it though. So Minnie actually did move in a few days ago, and she's been getting on really well with it. She's definitely exploring a lot more, and even if she climbs up this background, you don't hear her. I know when you get like 3D backgrounds made of foam, the nails and the foam can be very loud, especially at night, so I haven't had that with her. She is currently in her cold hide. I don't know if you can see her, but yeah, she's been getting on really well, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. I know some people have said previously, like when I did Ziggy's tank, it looked a bit cluttered or there wasn't that much room for them. But in fact, when you see them go into these hides are actually quite massive, and they all sort of connect around the back, and that's what I guess you miss. But yeah, I think I've actually maximised the potential space for her. Like, she can go upwards now and she can go on these ledges and all around the back, so I'm pretty happy with it. One thing I will say is this dirt, the Earth Mix Arid, make sure you keep up with spraying it down with water, because that's one thing I keep forgetting to do. So it looks like this in Ziggy's tank now. It's very different to how it looks when you first put it in, so that's something you definitely need to keep on top of. And definitely spray it down. I said in the review that I did of it that when you tip water on it, it just runs over the top, so you want to spray it rather than completely pour water over it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have 2 more natural tanks for leopard geckos to do in the future, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on them. And if you'd like to support this channel, check out my Patreon page. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and goodbye.